So today I'm test riding the Versys 650. This is not a real demo bike, this is a loaner bike. I'm having my rear wheel changed, so it's not exactly pristine. You can't see it because it's the light. I don't know how well you can see it. It's pretty dirty. It's got BT023s or 22s, BT22s are front. It has a Dunlop tire that I have no knowledge about. Sportmax D22 it says. I don't know what that is. It did come with side panniers too, but I had them take them off because there is a lot of people on the road today, and I didn't want to lane split with the wide panniers in case I forgot them. But yeah, this is what the bike looks like. So before I leave, let's give it a sound check. It's got a pretty good grunt. I have to admit that. Very nice stand, big, easy to reach, easy to get up and down. Mirrors are great. I have already ridden it for about 30 minutes. I'm taking it to a twisty road, and then it'll be more of a freeway ride. Towards the end, I don't know how much of that I'll actually include, but let's start. Now, the first and immediate thought I got when I sat on this bike, it is very tall. I am 6'1", I have I think I was 84 centimeter inseam, and I have to actually tippy toe a little bit. I can almost get both my heels down, but not quite. I do not trust these tires. They are not the normal tires. Actually go in the middle. The bike feels pretty stable. It has this weird quirk that if I accelerate with less than, or heavily accelerate with less than 5,000 RPMs, it sort of starts vibrating a lot. It's not that kind of vibration that like motorcycle vibration. It's the sort of you get when you have too low revs and the engine sort of pounds itself. Feels like it can't really get a nice firing. It does not feel like it enjoys low revs, which is pretty weird. I expect this bike to be like super strong at like 3,000 to 7,000 RPMs, like being a two-cylinder. But it really is a revvy bike. I am quite impressed, and generally I like that character. Personally, I am sort of a high rev kind of person. I am a four-cylinder lover. Total disclaimer here, I'm not a fan of two-cylinder bikes. But it handles these corners very well. It flows, moves well, I'm just gonna take a break here because I'm not gonna be stuck behind a bus. Let's see the acceleration here. Yeah, nice acceleration. Really nice. The windscreen is too low for me, or too high, either or. If I put it all the way up, I get a lot of buffeting. If I put it all the way down, I get a lot of buffeting. So I'm sort of stuck in the buffeting zone. Hoping I'm pointing you in the right direction. I can't see exactly where I'm pointing you, but you should be able to see at least some. So you can probably hear it, that there are some buffeting vibrations. This is the best I can make it. To me it's pretty bad, but it's not as bad as the V-Strom was. The V-Strom 650 was really bad. This is better, but still bad. Or it handles these corners beautifully. It has no issues taking the corners. Obviously I'm not gonna go knee down or something with a demo bike, but I don't think I would either way. This is not a knee down kind of bike. You can do it, but really wouldn't recommend it. It doesn't feel willing. Let's just say it like that. Just say that. I should have taken a longer break, because now I probably hit. No, actually this is the end of the line, so it's okay. Vibration, surprisingly not too bad. I mean, yeah, you will feel the vibration, especially at some revs, especially in first gear, low revs, you can feel it. But if you're buying a two-cylinder bike, this is pretty much what you should expect. And it's not uncomfortable. Almost all of the vibrations is in the foot pegs. That's a little... I wish it wasn't that bad in the foot pegs, but not something I can't live with or couldn't live with. I don't have to live with it. Brake levers are perfectly fine for a stock lever. Adjustable both on the clutch and the front brake, so that's awesome. I think the mirrors are actually very good. Very little vibrations. There are some vibration at some RPMs, like when you hit that sweet spot or not at all sweet spot, you get some vibrations. Other than that, they're pretty clean, and they're mounted to the bar, so the fact that the mirrors are pretty much still means the bar is shaking less than it could, or doesn't shake a whole lot. So this is weird. It's a fourth gear. It feels, not even a lot of acceleration, it feels like the bike is struggling a lot. And it's not the kind of struggling that it doesn't have the horsepower or torque kind of struggling. It's that way too low RPM
kind of struggling. And at 3000 RPM with a 2-cylinder bike, that is a little weird. But this is a demo bike. This is a loaner bike, not a demo bike. So this could be a very old tired engine. I can't remember which. Actually, he didn't tell me what year it is. I'm gonna write that in the description, of course, and in the title. But if you're commuting, this is probably a really nice choice. You have really nice upright commanding position. If you switch out the windscreen for something better or something that fits you, I would just remove it altogether, because I don't like having windscreens that go above my lower abdomen, I guess. I would like to have the wind at the center of the chest, or even a little lower and up, especially during summer like this, because I'm dying of heat here, and it's like, I don't know, it's probably 25, 26 degrees early June. So the sun is really strong, and this helmet doesn't have any good ventilation, so it's really hot inside the helmet and it's really hot on the bike. I can like scoot to the sides to get some wind on my jacket, but that's an uncomfortable way to ride, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so doing 100, this is painful. I don't know how much you can hear and see it, but this is head in a paint can mixer levels. So I'm going to have to go a little below the speed here, and here too, doing 90, 4000 RPMs. The engine is struggling. A lot of vibrations, a lot of shaking and pounding, and you go up to 5000, almost gone. 6000, silky smooth. And I mean silky smooth. You can feel like the engine vibrations, like minute. Just any engine makes some vibration, so, but this is the kind of vibration I expect from a 2-cylinder bike, and it is actually quite tolerable. And it does have power. It is actually quite impressive for a 650 adventure style. I guess this is sort of a mix between adventure and touring, because it's not quite adventure. You can put adventure-ish tires on it, but I don't know if I would say this is an off-road capable. I guess it's capable, but I'm not anywhere near skilled enough to even dare to try that. The seat is nice and soft. Now I have been riding like 5.5 hours for us a lot of days in a row, so my ass is a little sore already. It's a little it gets painful very early, and it took me like 5 minutes on this seat and I was already feeling it. So feels very top heavy in the slow when you ride it in slow speeds. So roundabouts and yeah, any slow moving while turning, I don't like the way it feels. But like I've said, this is a loaner bike and not a demo bike. Could be old tires. I haven't checked how square those are. They could be very squared. But it feels pretty agile. I can't really say that I would be surprised if this is a nice bike for, like, when you get used to it and you have like a couple of real sticky tires and not like budget tires. I would say this could probably do a pretty fun ride even at a track day, because it has enough power to be fun and it's not gonna shake itself apart. It doesn't feel... I've been pretty much at the entire spectrum and at no point do I feel uncomfortable with the vibrations, and I'm a pretty sensible guy when it comes to vibrations. I do not like a lot of vibrations. Like I said, these mirrors are impressive. For bar-mounted mirrors, they are really good. They can actually be used and you don't have to pull a clutch to see what's behind you at any speed or any rev. So pretty much any RPM you can yeah, pretty much any RPM you can use the mirrors, except a very not at all sweet spot somewhere. I can't remember the RPM, but there, it's at 5,500. It has a little bit of vibrations. Nothing serious, like I said, but that's the one point. Like 6,000 minimum shaking, minimum. And with the relaxed feet a little bit, about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more than 90 degrees, or less, I mean, a little less than 90 degrees, so a little, heels pointing a little bit back, but not too bad. If you put your heels on the pegs, you're basically 90 degrees. Very easy to turn thanks to the nice and exactly the correct width of bar. You have a nice leverage over the bike, and because it's not a huge bike, you have less weight and all that to actually move, so it's no problem at all to move the bike. Even doing 80 kilometers an hour, it's very agile, very nice. So agility is definitely a win for this bike. See, I gotta remember exactly where I'm supposed to go. I'm up the right. This is gonna be mostly highway riding from here on in, but I've had it in twisties. I only filmed parts of it, so you're just gonna have to trust me that I did some driving. But because usually when I do a demo ride, I have 20 minutes tops. Like 15-20 minutes. I don't have time for prepping, I don't have time for anything with a bike. This time I filled up the air, I adjusted the mirrors, I looked over the bike to see if there was anything that I had to, you know, anything that caught my eye. Other than all the bugs, it's basically perfectly fine. Does have a nice pull. Fourth gear, it just pulls. That's really nice. This is a 90 zone. I can't see the speedometer because of my dumb visor being. I have that pull down visor thing in the ARPA 70, and the coloring is making it impossible to see the speedometer. I can't see the numbers, so I'm kind of guessing a little bit, but I'm just following the cars in front of me, so if they're speeding, I'm speeding. Of course I can't open everything. Okay, I'm doing, I think about 90 would be 5,500 maybe. Oh, the buffeting is brutal. First thing I would have done if I bought this bike was to switch out the windshield screen. Because it's a little too buffety. Yeah. By the way, this bike has the best rear brake I have ever had the pleasure of having on a bike. I would almost say it's better than the front brake. Every time I use it, I just get a little bit shocked. It brakes so well, especially at low speed. It just, wow. Oh, the clutch on this is pretty worn. I can feel the clutch plates actually slipping, which is not a good feeling, by the way. That's the same feeling I had on my GPZ 600R, but that is a 85 model. This is, well, newer. I don't know exactly the model number, so, or the year. So the question, would I buy this bike? No, I wouldn't. It's not my kind of bike. I am not a huge fan of the two-cylinder bikes. It is too tall. It's like too top heavy, and yeah, getting into the corners, because of the way I'm used to riding, it doesn't feel good. It feels top heavy. It's that simple. So I would prefer a 4-cylinder bike, possibly a 3-cylinder bike. I remember my MTO 9. I like that bike. That is, I like the engine a lot. It's so weird. I mean, just keeping the same speed. Sorry. So just keeping the same speed at 4,500 RPMs, it feels like the bike is struggling a lot. There is excessive shaking. It feels like the engine is really pounding, and it does not like it. So fourth gear, a lot better. You need to be like 5,000-6,000 RPM on this specific bike. Flaws with the bike, very few. To me, it's a flaw that it's a two-cylinder bike. I'm not huge fan of that, but that's me. Also, it's a little top heavy. Not noticeable when you're at highway speeds. Like right now, it doesn't feel top heavy at all. It's really nice, really nice. It's agile, it's light and easy to move. It feels like it wants to go where you point it, and that's a really important characteristic of a motorcycle. You don't want to struggle against the bike, you want the bike to do what you want it to do. And this is definitely one of those times. The bike just does what you want it to do. And it does it really nice and easily. There is no modes on this bike. It doesn't need modes. There is an emergency blinker thingy. I would have preferred that to be on the right side, because you could potentially click that and start blinking in every direction. But that's not a big deal. Most bikes that I have tried have had the emergency blinker on that side anyway. One negative I would give is the throttle. Other than being very thick, the throttle and the handlebar in general is really thick, which I'm not used to. I'm used to a little bit thinner, but you get used to that. But you really have to turn the throttle a lot to get full throttle. So I've been on this bike for an hour and a half almost, and I feel already pretty at home on it. Like I said, there are some things like I wouldn't prefer a two-cylinder if I could choose, but yeah, at this specific price range and all of that, this is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this bike. It's a perfectly nice place to sit too. If you're commuting to and from work, maybe this will be your main transport for basically everything except like big shopping days. This will do the job. You'll never have a lack of power. It'll be pretty economical, and I don't think the insurance is bad on this either. It's a pretty. This should be a pretty cheap to insure bike. I will check how much it would cost me to insure a bike like this, and I'll write it up if I remember it. So this is when it gets a little. It's very soft though. It's not. I have not adjusted the springs and suspension and stuff, so it's a little. It's way too soft. That could be the reason why it feels a little. Yeah, a little uncomfortable at low speeds. So anything below 40 and it starts to feel like it's tipping over. It feels like it's top heavy, so once it starts to lean, it'll just topple over. But yeah, that's not a huge problem. The buttons are nice and easy to reach. Nice and easy. It's got good feedback. Not like the most feedback ever, but more than enough that even with gloves you can feel the click when you turn off the blinkers, and you can feel the click when you engage the blinkers. Yeah, the bike is really soft. It just tips over. But like I said, I'm not judging the suspension because I haven't even tried to adjust it. There is no way for me to do it without pulling out a lot of tools, and I have no interest in that. I'm just test riding this for fun. So the more I get used to the tip in of this bike, the less it bothers me. It's still a little top heavy, but you know, you get used to the balance of the bike, you get used to how to move the bike, and yeah, big rock. It really is a nice bike. I can see why this is one of the greatest commuters you could possibly get. I would not put on knobby tires. I think the rear on this is a little bit knobby. I would put as little knobs as possible. I would put like sports touring tires on it. It's so smooth. It's really, really nice. Barely shakes at all at like 10,000 RPM. And that is impressive, to say the least, for a bike like this. And I can see my bike is out. It has a new rear tire. That is nice. Look at that baby. That stand is so nice. Very easy to get up and down. Big nice lump. Yeah, I like it. I give it 8 out of 10. Could be a 10 out of 10. But it's a couple of things that bothers me. Like the 2-cylinder thing. If you're a 2-cylinder fan, 9 out of 10.